Okay, here's what not to do to your neighbor. My wife never laughed so hard. I was a fool and had to eat crow. First, you must understand some background. So imagine this. The nice neighbors who happen to own two psycho yappy chihuahuas that supposedly sleep outside our bedroom window, endlessly yapping at night, during the day, anytime anything moves outside, whenever I walk in the yard, whenever I mow, all the bloody time. You know, I was secretly wishing that they would escape into the yard while I'm mowing or weed whacking. Midnight prayers for an accident or miracle to happen. Then more fuel to the fire. Every morning we sit in our front room and have tea while slowly waking up and gazing out into the park across the street. Inevitably, the morning dog walkers will stroll on down the sidewalk in front of our house with their furry Fido and Foo-Foo friends in tow. And like clockwork, the happy mutts will leave a gift or a steamer in the corner of our yard by the light pole. No matter what we plant there or rip out of there, it seems like that every dog that passes is so interested in that bloody corner. Did I mention that we don't have dogs? So it's always pleasant to find that wrapped present in our yard. Or inevitably, the lawnmower finds it and flings it at me. On more than one occasion, I've opened the window and yelled something during the morning dump and embarrassed the owner. It became a source of irritation for us, probably worse than that hated little pink pig, and I refused to provide the neighborhood doggy toilet. So imagine, to my surprise, one afternoon, as I'm sitting in the front room at the computer sipping my glorious afternoon tea, I see the neighbor clamoring with his two psycho chihuahuas. And yep, just like clockwork, they stopped at that blessed corner. Oh, no, you don't. Surely you're not going to let them go right there. That's what I was thinking. But just like a dog taking a slow-motion dump on the lawn of a background of a redneck wedding ceremony, I stared in disbelief at the classic canine squat. Sure enough, a fresh, steaming deposit. The dog's owner, our neighbor, looked up towards the house, and I could see by the look on his face exactly what he was thinking. Is anyone looking? He gazed around toward the house again. No, great, he was probably thinking. And of course, he couldn't see that I had come home early and seen everything. After Foo-Foo did his thing, his human nonchalantly proceeded to walk Foo-Foo and Cookie down the sidewalk. Now, we all know the do unto others as you would have them do unto you routine. So being the good churchgoer that I am, I decided to do unto others, or should I say, do unto other? Immediately I marched into our garage, hit the garage door opener, and grabbed a shovel. I wasn't mad, I was just determined with one goal in mind, to return the pile to its rightful owner. Of course, I don't really relish confrontation, and by then the neighbor was 50 yards down the street. So I instantly found the foul belongings, scooped them up purposefully, and then marched them up the sidewalk towards the neighbor's driveway. Now, in our youth, my brothers and I have been quite fond of the gasoline, doggy-doo, and bag trick. I mean, you know the one. You know, light the bag on fire on someone's doorstep and ring the doorbell and run. The surprise is after the fire is stomped out. Yes, that crossed my mind, but with our neighbor, I just wanted to get even, not create an ongoing feud. So I deposited the soft chunks, there were 3 of them, on his driveway in a spot where I was sure that he would see him on his return with his little snarling poop machines. After putting the shovel away and returning inside the house, I told my wife the whole sequence of events. She seemed quite taken with my story and laughed quite heartily. In fact, she laughed and laughed. Proud of myself, I returned to the front room and to the computer. Not paying attention to the time, maybe it was 10 minutes had passed, and as I glanced up at the computer and looked out the window, I saw the neighbor again. Aha, I thought, you have a surprise waiting for you at home. But he was stopped with Foo-Foo and Cookie nosing about, and he was hunched over near the light pole corner of our yard looking for something. Looking, scanning. Oh, I wish I would have had a camera to record him looking about for all those blasted nuggets. That was so classic. But wait, what's that? Bag in his hand. Oh, you're kidding, I thought. You actually came with a bag to pick it up? Now that was one of the things that I did not see coming. On a side note, you know how dog owners are. No offense to dog lovers, will turn the bag inside out around their hand like some sort of a sick muppet or puppet and gobble up the little treasure balls like a Pac-Man game. And then reverse the bag and put it in their pocket afterwards. Have you seen that? You gotta love dog lovers. They don't mind finishing their walk with a gushy sack of hot nasty in their belly packs. Just waiting to ooze out. Back to our neighbor, though. He was quite intent on finding the stash and looking a little taken back as to where it must be. I knew it was here, he was thinking. Oh, a movie of this would have been so grand. He crouched and waved his hand puppet around, looked some more, scanning back a third time. He finally gave up and continued walking up the sidewalk toward his house. I'm busted. By now I ran into the other room to tell my wife again of this bizarre sequence of events, and she laughed even harder, so hard that our daughter was now even wondering what the heck was going on, knowing that the neighbor would discovered that I had left 3 little presents on his driveway. Ugh! Now what do? Do I just figure the heck with it, and he got what he deserved? When in actuality, he had already made amends for the mutt, at least in intent. I just went back to the computer and shrugged it off. Another 10 minutes or so had passed, and maybe a half hour. I hear my wife telling our 5-year-old daughter that Papa should apologize. Well, not 30 seconds later, our daughter comes into the front room to tell me, "You should go and apologize." At first I thought, nah, no need, no big deal. But do I feel a little guilty about the whole thing? And I realized how this could forever change the dynamic of our neighbors, all over some stupid thing. Those blasted little mutts, now look what they've done. So I swallowed my pride and sat out on the long trip up the sidewalk. As I reached their driveway, I noticed that my presents were no longer there. And stepping up to the front door, I sheepishly pressed my finger on the doorbell switch.